Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And also keep in mind, these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy.
All right, folks, here we are after market close on Monday, January 24th. We're going to take a look at SoFi. Now, I almost didn't come in and make a SoFi video because I kind of felt like, if you look at the dip down today, dip, stabilize, run up, it was just kind of following the market around mostly, right? This looks a little bit different, but it's a dip, more of a brief stabilization here, and then the run up. To me, the run up is, the dip and the run up are the important pieces, and we definitely see the dip and we definitely see the run up. And so to my mind, not a ton of this can be attributed to SoFi, probably other than the fact that it's down much more than most of its, say, comrades. Finex down less than 1%, RCAP actually up almost 1%, Upstart down about 1.5%, Affirm up over 1%. And if we, for the heck of it, pull in Lending Club up a little bit, and PaySafe down about 2%. So, SoFi definitely getting the brunt of this sell-off today in terms of at least what I just talked about. And even, as you certainly know by now, the indices turning green by the end of the day. It was just a wild day. And so I think there's more sort of volatility ahead. I'm going to do a video on the overall indices after this, and so I'll put out my sort of 2 cents on how sort of like chaotic those are looking at the moment. But we do see this at least respecting some logical spots that we have on the chart, coming down here to about this 1208. Like I said, this is 1208 and this is 1308. This is 1355. I would just think of them as 12, 13, 13 and a half. And even then, we don't have 12.5 on here, but this definitely caught some friction at 12.5 as well. So like I had mentioned a few videos back, I think the dollar and the 50 cent are in primary focus at the moment. So anyway, it came down, was able to catch and stick itself along this 12. That was quite questionable for a period of time, and then started to run with the rest of the market, rejected off about this 13 level, dipped down, like we said, to about 12.5, and then was able to run and overtake that 13 level toward the end of the day. So we'll see if that has any sticking pressure for the rest of the week or even just into tomorrow. But if it does, I think it'll just be because it does for the rest of the market. I don't necessarily think that this is like super SoFi focused. The thing that I would say is SoFi focused at the moment is now we're getting into real a whole lot of gapping going on. So even though we did have a down day today, I will say this is a decently structured candle if we were going to be able to try to recover a bit. Now, this has basically fulfilled the gap here, right? I think it's like a few pennies shy maybe of exactly the bottom of this wick, but that does mean that there's just upside, strength in that gap. And then we left this gap today, so now we have a new gap. And so SoFi, running around filling gaps all over the place, and if it continues to fill them relatively quickly, this might see us be able to push up over this 1355 level and try to flip that to supports, and then who knows what that unlocks. I mean, it's still, if we zoom back out here a bit, still is looking to reform a trend, right? It has this really herky-jerky action right now between, catalysts in the face of an otherwise down markets, and then once that catalyst wears off, it says, okay, I'm gonna go down with the rest of the market, but I have some mileage to make up for, right? because I was running up when you all were already running back, and so I got to come back down to meet you. So that's putting us into the 11s today, unfortunately, but like I said, I'm mostly looking for some sort of structure to start to build, some sort of trend to start to show itself. It's a channel, obviously, for example. There's like a range here. These are all structures and just this sort of triangle sort of movements. It's just there's nothing there to build off of other than the idea to say, hopefully, from the bullish hope, it wants to come up and fill this gap relatively quickly. And if so, does that infuse any semblance of momentum? Does that give us any movement to the upside? I'm pretty skeptical, to be honest, at the moment, just in the sense of like, does SoFi coming up and filling that gap really mean much for SoFi? I only think it means something if the rest of the market is also filling gaps to the upside and wanting to continue that momentum up. But to the extent that the overall market wants to continue to come down, that's there's still is a lot of fear and uncertainty around growth. That's SoFi is going to continue to take a bit of a beating as it pertains to that. If and when that stuff wears off, then we might be in a different situation. But with the interest rate situation, inflation pressures, and tapering happening, that certainly is going to have some impact on the overall market. Even just, I know everyone's talking about the interest rates and the tapering and stuff, but I actually think, or the interest rates and the inflation, I actually think that the tapering is going to sort of really be the deal that the market is going to have to get over or just sort of see itself through at some point and get on the other side of. But we'll see. There are insane articles coming out at this point, like hot stocks, GameStop, AMC, SoFi, and Affirm among leaders of market crash. I mean, just what such stupid. It's just such a stupid article. Why? Because retail was once interested in SoFi. I don't even understand, what they're talking about. They don't mention Netflix. I mean, come on, it's so dumb. And so, there's no shortage of people wanting to pile on this fear train and ramp up the engine and sort of try to run this thing off the tracks for clickbait, I guess. But yeah, just really crazy stuff coming out. And, I would just obviously say, be as smart as you can be in these times. And, we'll all try to make it through the best we can. But, I don't exactly know what to expect. That's my short-term hope, that there's some gaps to be filled here, that this gap has been filled and that there's a little bit of an up gap. And but like I said, I think it's wait and see what the market does sort of situation, because SoFi, for the time being, while that tide is very strong, that undertow is very strong, I think SoFi is just going to get dragged around with it for the time being, absent some major catalyst. And I know some folks think that the Super Bowl and whatnot is going to be a major catalyst. I don't see it. I could be wrong. The bull in me hopes I'm wrong. But I don't see that being a big driver of the stock price. My biggest hope is that earnings comes along. SoFi seems to want to have very strong reactions to earnings, and that the bank charter provides them the ability to increase guidance. That to me would be the best case scenario for the next best catalyst. But we'll see. That's a ways off. We have a lot of choppy or challenging days to go in the markets before we get to that earnings date. So we'll see. All right, folks, that's my 2 cents. I hope you survived the day okay, and that you are able to continue the week strong tomorrow. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.